Right, hello. Obviously, the music you're hearing in the background is something a bit different, but this is what I like to call a preface, an introduction to the Doctor Who Series 7 Complete Edition review. Now, this has been recorded just after I recorded the first two episodes for Series 7 Part 1. So, obviously, this is going to give you, just explaining what this video is, and also do one in for, obviously this is a whole one big video, and just as I finish Series 7 Part 1, and this video will be in the Series 7 Part 2, there'll be a preface in front of that, and a preface in front of the 50th anniversary special. So this video is going to be about, it could be 3 hours long, not gonna lie, it could be 3 hours long, because it's already approaching the 2-hour mark, and it is probably going to exceed 3 hours, but it's already approaching 2-hour mark. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's definitely a lie. But it could be a 3-hour video. But yeah, this is just a preface of what this video is. So this video is basically the ultimate Series 7 review by me. So what you're hearing, what you're about to hear, will be Series 7 Part 1, 2012, Series 7 Part 2, 2013, and then the 50th anniversary specials, which this video won't include. Won't include review for Adventure in Space and Time. It may or may not. I'm thinking of it now, but that'll be still fine in the future. Anywho, it will also may or may not include that. That's what this video is. It's sort of just a, it's in everything really. It's the whole complete package of Series 7, all of it. I thought I'd do this because unlike Series 4 and Series 4 special, it's only 2. This is what, three videos mashed into one. So it would make sense to do it as someone who didn't want to just watch each one individually, put this one on in the background and stuff. So yeah, that's what you're about to hear with me talking about Series 7, Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1, Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, and Doctor Who Series 7 the 50th anniversary specials. I just want to say this is going to be a really fucking long video, so if you even think about watching it, it's something I probably advise you just putting on as background noise if you're studying or working or doing anything. If anyone gives enough of a shit about my channel, I'd highly recommend you put on as background noise, even though my voice is not exactly the nicest thing to listen to, but I suppose it's nice music at points. But yeah, what you're about to watch, listen, this through is my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Complete, and most notably the beginning here will be Series 7 Part 1, so yeah, look forward to that's about to come up now, but I just thought I'd preface it with that sort of thing. I'll also preface the Series 7 Part 2 and 50th anniversary special, like I said, when we get to that point. But yeah, you've just seen the intro before I started this, and you're about to see the first episode. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to my past self with Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1, Episode 1, Silent of the Daleks review, coming at you now, courtesy of my past self. Take it away, past self. Right, hello and welcome to the Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1 review. Now, before I start this review, I just want to preface this with a very important thing. Now, I don't know how I've got so far, but at the time of recording, the Series 6 review is just about to be uploaded. So once that's uploaded, that is my 99th review on my YouTube channel, which makes this video, the Series 7 Part 1 review, the 100th movie/TV review on my channel. What a milestone. I mean, to be fair, the first 100 reviews, that does include 4 reviews I did before I started banging them out this year, but I'm okay with that because those are still reviews on the channel. So, and I made sure before saying this that I checked the playlist to make sure there wasn't any doubles, duplicates, or videos that shouldn't be in the playlist. But yeah, that's in the movies and TV playlist. This is officially the 100th review on my YouTube channel, my 100th review. What a mad milestone. Anyone who's watched my videos, I just want to thank you for the time to actually click on my videos, because I speak really fast, no one can understand what I'm saying. The microphone is still having problems, so I appreciate anyone who does click on my videos and actually watch them, even, because, it's taken me a while to get to the position I'm in at the moment with 150 subs and that, and also big up for 20 subs on the second channel. Thank you for that. But yeah, this is Series 7, a brief overview, if you will. This is Series 7 Part 1, my mistake. We have 6 episodes to cover in this video. This video roughly using my big brain calculation, should be around half an hour long, depending on, you know, obviously this first video is going to be 10 minutes long, this first segment is going to be 10 minutes long, and then the other ones are usually 5-10 minutes long, but I'm calculating that it should be half the length of a normal one, which is around 30 to 45 minutes. So, yeah, but the episodes we're looking at today are Asylum of the Daleks, which we'll be talking about in just a second, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which is written by Chris Tickle, by the way, A Town Called Mercy, Power of Three, The Angels Take Manhattan, and The Snowmen, which is a Christmas special, which is the 2012 Christmas special. Now, I want to preface this with, obviously, Series 7 being as special as it is, there will be 4 videos on the channel dedicated to Series 7 as a whole. The Series 7 Part 1, Series 7 Part 2 reviews, the 50th anniversary specials, which are part of Series 7, and then the Series 7 Ultimate review, which will be all of those videos mashed into one, which will be around the usual length of an hour or so, I imagine. I don't know, it could be longer than that, it could be a 3 hour video. I highly doubt that each video is not going to be an hour long, because obviously it's a short amount of, instead of it being 4 videos on the full 14-15 episode series, it's 4 videos, with 2 of which are covering 6 episodes, 1 of which covering just 3 specials, but the specials will take 10 minutes each, so that video at least will be 10 minutes long, because each special I will talk about for 10 minutes. Obviously those specials are not Name, Day, and Time of the Doctor, by the way. But yeah, and I'm not going to do a review of the mini-sode Night of the Doctor, but what I will be doing is a review of an adventure in space and time in between, probably right after the series, after we Day of the Doctor review. I don't know if I'll bundle it in. I think I'll bundle it in with the 50th anniversary special, so that will include the Name of the Doctor, the Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, and an adventure in space and time. Looking forward to watching it. I haven't watched it in a very long time. But yeah. Anyway, that's our little series overview. Let's dive into episode 1 of Asylum of the Daleks. Series 7, from what I can remember, there's some highs, there's some lows, but I think it starts off very strongly with Asylum of the Daleks, with Jenna Coleman, then Jenna Louise Coleman, Oswin Oswald, or as we almost better, or as she'll be better known throughout the series, throughout Series 7 Part 2, Series 8 and Series 9, Clara Oswald. But it's not Clara Oswald yet, this is Oswin Oswald, the souffle girl. Fine. Yeah, I think she's a fantastic character here. Got everything that she possesses for the rest of the series, being the fun-loving character she is. And she's almost always, to an extent, the polar opposite of Amy, who is... Amy can be fun and playful, but she's mostly the stubborn Scottish one, which, you know, because she's Scottish, but with Clara, she's the very upbeat, happy sort of the wacky one that I really think does work with the Doctor quite well. Not that Amy doesn't work, Amy's fantastic as well, and it's good to see Amy and Clara technically in an episode together, and obviously the whole beginning of this episode deals with Amy and Rory's marital status, their marriage and stuff, and I think this episode, one of the parts this episode is doing is exploring their marriage and stuff, and there's a nice scene at a certain point that really makes you sort of feel for them and stuff, and it's very much focused on their relationship, and I quite like that. But I do like the story of the Daleks here. This is a fun Dalek story. I think it's one of the better Dalek stories we've seen, speaking of that. I think it's the 11th Doctor's second Dalek story, if I'm not wrong. Personally, the victory of the Daleks, or the Daleks did appear in Pandora Potion. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty sure it's the second Dalek story, and this is, obviously there are some big Dalek stories coming up towards the end of this series, which, no doubt, that's a big one. But that's a whopping 77 minutes on there, the Doctor. It's a mad episode. It is one of my favourites. I think when we get to Day of the Doctor, it has to be said, I'm going to get it out of the way now. I know it's a haze away, but I want to get it out of the way. Day of the Doctor was the first episode of Doctor Who I remember watching when it came out and stuff, and I have the DVD of it, and I now have the steelbook containing everything I'm doing for the special video, name, day, and time of the Doctor, plus the adventure in space and time. So the question remains, if I'll use that Blu-ray, probably would be a better looking version than it would be on. But I don't know. Anywho, But yeah, I think the Sign of the Daleks is a really solid and quite, like, it's a really good Dalek story. I think as a whole, the episode, it leaves something to decide, but I do like the idea of the Daleks having an asylum that, and that even they won't kill them. They just want, they don't want to kill them because they're somewhat beautiful. I like that. And I do like the thing that at the end the Daleks forget the Doctor, which is something interesting if you ask me, and quite fun. But yeah, as a whole, I say Asylum of the Daleks is a really fun episode. It's quite a great start to Series 7. It lays a lot of things to come without actually laying any major sort of character arc at the beginning, other than say maybe ending or unlike the previous two series where their first episodes laid a lot of the groundwork of what's to come. Obviously with the 11th Hour and the Cracking Time, and then the Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon, setting up the whole thing of the Doctor's death and that, which is really fun and quite enjoyable. But like I said, Sound of Daleks is really fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, it's just an all-round episode that I find really fun. Series 7 is one of those series that has a lot of stuff to do with it. Obviously, you know, in terms of its part 1 and part 2 stuff happening across 2 years. So it took me a while to figure out how I was going to do it right and do it properly. And obviously now we've come to the point where I know how I'm doing it properly and doing it right. It's good to just get it out of the way and stuff, and we're moving quickly. Honestly, the time between me ending the Series 6 review and recording this bit has been about 10 to 20 minutes. I literally just, as soon as I finished the Series 6 review and set it to export, I put on this episode and started watching it. And I was waiting until just towards the end of this episode was when we finished exporting. And as we speak, that video, Series 6 review, is uploading with the new intro out, so all that lovely news. And it's currently 88% uploaded as of the 7th of August 2021 at 22:32 UK time. It's currently 88% uploaded. So pending, and hopefully the BBC don't block it. If they do, I think I may just give up on reviews for now, or at least because I'm pretty sure if with Man Like Moby, it's going to be really difficult because there's no trailers, and I'll be forced to use an actual clip from the TV show, which is 10 times more likely to get actually blocked worldwide by BBC than a trailer is, which is painful. But yeah, I said Sign of the Daleks is a fun, fantastic episode. It's a great way to kick off Series 7, Part 1, and I can't wait to delve into this series that I think has is one of the more interesting series because it technically has 2 companions to it, and 2 companions, two Christmas specials, a 5th anniversary special, and which makes it one of the most jam-packed series in Doctor Who. Now the video seeing here is a trailer that I found for Series 7 Part 1. I do have a trailer for Series 7 Part 2 and the 50th anniversary special, so I'll tell you when the time is recording it. But yeah, coming up now is my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1 Episode 2, Ground Force from Space, and something I really like about it. Right, so Series 7 Part 2 Series 7 Part 1 Episode 2, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Now before we start this, I just want to mention that what you're hearing now is the first piece of Doctor music that I have edited myself to remove certain parts to make it just flow better with the review and stuff. So the quiet parts of the music have been dialed down, and it's mainly just the big bits, which is good to hear. Obviously we are at Series 7 Part 1 Episode 2, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which is a very interesting one for numerous sets of matters, which including things like it includes a appearance from the Silurians, which is fun. It also includes lots of things. It also includes another British actor cameoing Rupert Graves as Dell, but it also has something very interesting that you should know about. Also, has David Mitchell as one of the robot voices. That's a fun fact. But what it also does have is the character. Another thing is it's written by Chris Chibnall, but I think the most important thing that it has is that the character of Solomon is portrayed by a man called David Bradley, who, if you know your Doctor Who stuff, know that David Bradley portrayed the first Doctor. Actually, no, David Bradley portrayed William Hartnell in An Adventure in Space and Time in 2015, and the first Doctor in the 2017 Christmas special, Twice Across the Time. They are two different characters. He's not portraying both characters in each thing. He's portraying William Hartnell in An Adventure in Space and Time, and he's portraying the first Doctor. Yeah, that's David Bradley, don't even know, and this is his first appearance in Doctor Who as Solomon in the episode Dinosaurs in Space. Now, this episode as a whole, I think, you know what, in terms of Chibnall's writing stuff, this is definitely on the weaker side, but you know what, it's not even as bad as I remember. I actually think it's quite a lot of fun. I think Solomon is an interesting choice of villain. But like I said, I think just as a whole, it's a fun episode, but I like to see it's on Silurians and dinosaurs, and I have to admit, one of the best characters in this episode is Brian Williams. I think his best scene is where the Doctor asks if you've got any vegetables in your pants, and Brian just goes, "Only my ball." Obviously, he's referring to cold balls, but the way it's said and the way the character's paused, it's implied that he is referring to his male genitalia. No, I'm joking. But obviously, it's just a funny moment. I think Brian is a funny character all around. He's really cool. I think he might come back in the future, so don't quote me on that. Queen Nefertiti is really cool. I think he's a funky character. And Queen Nefertiti, she genuinely, I actually genuinely think, at certain points in the episode, certainly the opening, that she is very horny for the no, she's very unlike Doctor Who to portray that kind of thing, but it's directly portrayed in this episode. But yeah, like I said, it's an all-round fun episode. I think Solomon's cool character. I've seen David Bradley and Doctor Who so in a year or so before a crazy time. But yeah, as of the recording of this, the Doctor Who Series 6 review is now up on the channel, so go give that some love, support that video ting. But yeah, thank you for supporting those videos. This is obviously my 100th review on our channel. What epic thing. But yeah, obviously the Dinosaurs in the Spaceship is an episode of Chris Chibnall. His next episode, I think his third episode is wrote for Doctor Who after 42, the 10th Doctor. Series 3, I believe that is. Or 3. I'm 100% sure it's 3. Yeah, it's definitely 3. It's not 2. It's 3. Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, so he wrote 42 for Series 3, and then obviously he wrote for Series 5, he wrote We Have Cobbled Up, which I think is one of the best episodes he's written to date. I love that episode, but this episode of Spaceship is far from his best. It's also not exactly his worst at the same time. But like I said, it's just an interesting episode. I think conceptually it's fun. It's good to see the Silurians back again. I love the Silurians. I love Man and Barsha. She's a fantastic character. But yeah. It's just an all-rounder episode, really, that's quite enjoyable, and yeah, it has its moments. It's really fun, and I enjoy it. But yeah, it's not exactly the best episode. That is my view. Doctor Who Series 7, Part 1, Episode 2, Dinosaurs on the Spaceship. My view of Doctor Who Series 7, Part 1, Episode 3, A Town Called Mercy is coming at you right about. Right, so, Doctor Who Series 7, Part 1, Episode I believe it's 3, A Town Called Mercy. Yeah, Town Called Mercy. Yeah. Episode 3, A Town Called Mercy. So we are halfway through Series 7, Part 1. We have 3 episodes left to go. 2 of which being with Amy and Rory, one of which being the finale of Amy and Rory in Doctor Who, and one of the saddest episodes of all Who, I think, The Angels Take Manhattan. And the other one being The Power of Three, which is next up, and then obviously No Men. But obviously we're at a town called Mercy now. I just think this is very one of those heartwarming episodes to an extent, and I think it definitely shows a side to the Doctor that we haven't seen for a while, that we shouldn't really be seeing too much of, and I think it's good to it's shown every now and then, but I don't think it's too good for it to be preserved in its current state. I think at the same time it should really be respected, but also it's a side that the Doctor made really hard choices in this episode, and it's great to see him have to go through that unusualness of making those hard choices. And yeah, like I said, it's fantastic that these hard choices are being made by him, and he shows himself as a very intriguing character. I do like the character of Jex and the Gunslinger. They're quite cool characters. The Gunslinger's intriguing, and so is Jex, and it's good to see these characters be built in a way that, on the offset, at least for Jex, looks like a good guy who's being hunted by someone, but then it's revealed that in a way he's technically he's a bad person, not a bad guy. A bad person. So I like how that's explored here in this episode. I think, like I said, Marigold's music is always fantastic here. I do like, the Western style of it. It's pretty sick, and I think at this point Doctor Who hasn't there's no charm with the Doctor Who hasn't done yet, and I think that's what really makes this episode really fun and quite, what can I say, it's just a very enjoyable episode as a whole, and it's one of those episodes that I feel is just an interesting leap of just how it works and how it functions, and I think it's just fun as a whole, and genuinely I think it's just an episode that Isaac as a character's core, and an episode that I feel like I said, gives us two different versions of the Doctor, and it really explores him in that way, and I do think the whole Western setting. And like I said, it's just genuinely really enjoyable episode, and it's just a whole episode that I feel like really works in its own special way, with its own special selection of characters, and I think the whole Western town surviving thing is quite cool. I do like they all revolt and stuff, which is fun. But it's just a well-structured, formed episode. There's a few religious aspects here and there, not too many. That's sort of how I think Doctor Who should be. It shouldn't be focused on portraying religion, portraying certain politics. It should be just there at portraying stories, and that's what it does best, and that's what it does here, and that's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. The Ninth Doctor, fucking hell, but yeah, like I said, it's just one of those episodes that I feel like could be more done with a few characters. It's never been my favourite episode, it never will be. Series 7 has its interesting points, and this is one of those interesting points. But it's just a fun episode all round, But yeah, like I said, it's just an all-round fun episode. Very much enjoyed it, and I think it definitely represents a point where they're showing the Doctor's character as two different things, and then him learning to control either one of those things. A very interesting concept that's done very well by writer Toby Whithouse. And it's just a fun episode. It's highly enjoyable, but not the best. Like I said, Jex and the Gunslinger are an interesting characters. They know what they're doing, they do what they do, and it's just an all-round enjoyable one. Like I said, this is my review of Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 1, Episode 3, A Town Called Mercy. Yeah. Alright, now my review of Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 1, Episode 4, Power of 3. Coming up now on your ears and eyes. Right, so Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1. I want to say Yes, 4. Episode 4, The Power of 3. Another Series 7 episode to be written by current Doctor Who showrunner, very long, Christopher Chibnall. Yeah, now The Power of 3 is a very interesting story because for me, it marks the point where, obviously, it's the introduction of Elizabeth Stewart in Kate Elizabeth Stewart, big old reference to the Brigadier, your boy, you know him, you love him. Obviously, there was a previous episode, I think it was the end of Series 6. Yeah, it was in the Wedding River song where the Doctor calls up the Brigadier's care home and they tell him Brigadier is dead. So the successor to the Brigadier. But like I said, the whole episode it's great to see Brian Williams back again. That's first and foremost. Brian Williams is one of the best characters in New Who. This is in fact really funny and I like him. He's really cool. This is the one that definitely is one of those end of companion relationship episodes where it struggles with being a human and being the Doctor's companion, and I think this is where the episode where that really stands out the most, and I think that's an important thing to remember, is that it stands out the most in this episode. And obviously the finale, the Angels Take Manhattan, and obviously there's a big conversation that Amy and the Doctor have involving that the Doctor is not running away from something but running towards Amy, which is it's a really cute conversation. I think it's really cool. But like I said, it's definitely foreshadowing to what, if you've seen the series already, you know exactly what's coming. It's going to be a very, very emotional episode, the end, especially the ending. But the end is nigh. Everything must come to an end at some point, and that's that. But yeah, The Power of 3 is, I do like the concept of cubes things, and I think it's one of those episodes that was clearly put there as, you know, just it's one of those episodes that I feel like most, even one part to two parters, they have like a kill and set up the enemy at the beginning, and then you see that go through and then blah blah blah. But here it's sort of not that. You only really find out who the enemy is towards the end of the episode, and I think that's what's really cool about this episode. It doesn't slap you right in the face of the enemy at the beginning, like saying, "Oh, I don't know, I don't want mercy or dinosaurs in space." Not dinosaurs in space, but definitely saying, "Oh, our darlings." I've just noticed that Series 7 has no two-parters. No two-parters at all. Which is really weird and not normal. But okay. Yeah, like I said, it's an episode that I think is really fun, really enjoyable. And it's just all round a very enjoyable, fun episode of this series that I think, while it definitely has the cube things are just a bit boring, it definitely is an episode where the thumbnail for this video came from, with the Doctor and the Cons sitting on the sofa. That's where that came from. It's fucking fun. But yeah, like I said, it's great to see Elizabeth Stewart. It's great to have that thing about, this is the first time we hear the Brigadier's theme. And as I was watching this episode, actually, I paused it and I watched one of my favourite clips from Twice Upon a Time where Mike Gatiss' character reveals that his name is in fact Elizabeth Stewart. Best clips in New Who, and I love that one in Twice Upon a Time, and the 12th Doctor's face is like, this is a brother, and he says to Soldier that Karen P that's a really good bit, because obviously we know how that folds out for the first Doctor and how it leads up to where the 12th Doctor is now. But yeah, it's just, obviously this is the first episode we hear the Brigadier's thing, which is fun. But yeah, like I said, it's a fun episode. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I think it's a decent one, but it's definitely got those moments where it's definitely more so about the relationship with the Doctor and Rory and the two different lives, and I like that concept. It's obviously foreshadowing what will become, but I think as a whole that's just a concept that really works quite well in this sense of New Who and stuff. And I think, it's something that definitely happens towards the end. Every single companion's run with the Doctor definitely happens like that, where they start questioning their life with the Doctor. So you could just see it was coming, and unfortunately the way it does end is quite possibly the saddest people ending together, other than maybe Rose, I suppose. Rose does still have technically one more performance left. Doctor Who universe, and that's obviously not as Rose, but as Battle in Day of the Doctor. But we'll get to that soon enough. So thank you for watching my review of Doctor Who Series 7, Part 1, Episode 4, Hour of 3. Up next is my review of Series 7, Part 1, Episode 5, The Angels Take Manhattan. And you right about now. Yo, so it's Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1 Episode 5, The Angels Take Manhattan. Now, as I previously mentioned in the last one, it is an emotional journey, specifically obviously the ending being as emotional as it gets, but as a whole the story is fantastic. One of my favourite elements of this story is the use of the book, and albeit I used to remember the story having that book being a bit more of a major part. Obviously I remembered it wrong. But the use of the book and the chapter titles to forward the plot a bit was really quite an ingenious use, and it's definitely something River would do, so it works out. But like I said, it's the combination of Amy and Rory. It's, you know, the end of the character. We've seen the 11th Doctor live through, you know, all of the first, and to put him directly the first face his face ever saw. So, you know, it was definitely a moment that hit quite hard when it actually happened, and unfortunately the way it happened was even sadder. But as I mentioned previously, it's just an episode that I think is really fun, really enjoyable. I just think it's fantastic, and you know, it's enjoyable, but it's the emotional stakes are definitely there. I like the idea of the angels being what eventually picks them off. I think that's a funky idea. Obviously the ending is very emotional and sad, and one of those things where I honestly think, like a few other episodes, it generally nearly made me cry, and I don't care what anyone says about that. I like my TV show the way I like it, and I don't care at all. You go fuck yourself. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those episodes that I think is heartwarming, sad, emotional. It has the ups and downs, but it also has the epicness of being, you know, another episode with River, who's a fantastic character, played fantastic by Alex Kingston, who nobody else could play the character. And there are people suggesting that Alex Kingston should take over the role of Doctor Who showrunner, which would be sick, by the way. And I'm sure if she did, she would definitely bring back someone who should have been brought back. I would have loved to see how River would have coped with the 13th Doctor being, well, that's something I wish they had explored. Who knows, maybe it is explored. But yeah, as I said, it's just an episode that I think is, the emotions are high, they are there. It's a fantastically fun episode, but also like emotions are really high. I do like the angels, and the angel being, the concept of an angel being, an angel being in the Statue of Liberty is really quite funky actually, which is cool. And as a whole, it's just an episode that I think it really bounces off. We've officially reached the 30-minute mark, but like I said, it's a fun episode. I love the episode. I think it's really, really good. And, you know, I just think it's a fantastic farewell to Amy and Rory that could not have been done in any better way, in any shape or form. So I appreciate, you know, that epic let me me, which is sick. But like I said, the final page in the ending where the Doctor is the final page is so heartwarming. It make me nearly cry, not gonna lie. And you know, I just want to say, you know, goodbye Amy, goodbye Rory. You've had your moments, your ups, your downs, your highs, your lows, all the fun and fantics of a fiery Scottish woman, you know, all in there. Good old Rory, one of the funniest Doctor Who characters. But yeah, goodbye the ponds and hello Clara, as should be said. But yeah, it's a fun episode. You know, I look forward to the introduction of Clara in the sermon, which is one I don't remember too well, but I'm looking forward to it because I think it. I remember it could be a cool one, and also we see the new TARDIS design in that episode. And the rest of Series 7 has that lovely new TARDIS that the 12th Doctor would stick with throughout his entire reign. Fantastic Four, you are a bore. I don't get me wrong, I used to think that the 11th Doctor's first TARDIS was really bad, but when you get used to it so much, you do really enjoy it, and I think it's one of those ones that, when you look at it, 11's first TARDIS, and then 12's, and then 11's second TARDIS, and 12's TARDIS, are definitely the biggest TARDIS consoles we've seen. They're far bigger than 9 and 10's ever was, where it's just this one single room, where sure, it goes down and stuff, but you can really see where different parts fit 11's and 12's TARDISes, and I think that's what makes them really special. They feel like a home with all the characters that inhabit them over time. They really do. 9 felt like a safe space. 9 and 10 felt like a safe space, but 11 and 12 felt like a home. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I need to stop like saying that, but yeah, this is my review of Doctor Who Series 7, Part 1, Episode 5. Going to take my hand up next. The finale of this part 1. The Snowmen. The 24th Christmas special coming up now. So yeah, enjoy. Here it is right now. Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Series 6 Part 1 Episode 6. The Snowman. Obviously it's the first episode without Amy and Rory, and it is one of the second episode to introduce us to the character of Clara Oswin, who we met in Asylum of the Daleks at the beginning of Series 7 as Oswin Oswald. And it is this and that episode are both laying the groundwork for what will be a series arc that would not be concluded until the day of the Doctor for most of and the rest of Series 7. So it's an arc that I very much enjoy, but it's great to see Clara here. Clara's one of my favourite Doctor Who companions ever. It's great, she's fucking funny. She's in mood sometimes, she really is. It's quirky as well, which is fun. But I just, before we get into anything else though, there are two famous British actors in this episode. First we have Ian McKellen, who is the voice of the Intelligence. You don't actually physically see him, but he voices the big intelligent snow machine. And then you have Richard E. Grant as Dr. Simeon. Now, Richard E. Grant specifically, it's an interesting story. He was always with his Richard E. Grant and his association with Doctor Who is an interesting one, because way, he was always considered for someone who could potentially be the Ninth Doctor. It wasn't very much. But then in the non-canon style, where Comic Relief Special, which, might I add, actually predicted that the 13th Doctor would be a woman with blonde hair, so that's what, funny thing, I can't remember. I think Curse of the Faith of Death, that's what it's literally, it's 20 minutes long. The Curse of Fatal Death, which he portrays one of the Doctor accomplished in a number of years. But yeah, he's one of the few people who portrays for Doctor Brian Atkinson and Hugh Grant, to name a few. You have Ron Atkinson as the first Doctor, Richard E. Grant, quite handsome Doctor. As version of the Doctor, Hugh Grant as a version of the Doctor. So you have Ron Atkinson as the 9th Doctor, Richard E. Grant, 10th Doctor, in Broadband as the 11th Doctor, Hugh Grant as the 12th Doctor, and Joanna Lumley as the 13th Doctor. So there you go. I may point out this is not canon, by the way, but that's one of his earliest introduction to the world of Doctor Who, and that was in 1999. And then in 2003, for this series' golden jubilee, no, it's not, but for the series' 40th anniversary, Richard E. Grant starred in the animated Doctor Who adventure Scream with the Shulker, which also starred an actor under the name of David Tennant. But well, you know where he goes in the world of Doctor Who. But that starred Richard D. Grant as the Shulker Doctor, as we call it, because it's the episode Scream with the Shulker. So as technically that's not, at the time it was canon, but now it's believed not to be canon. So Richard Grant is the sharper Doctor, and obviously we fast forward to 2012, where he appears as Dr. Simeon in this episode, and the time and all. One other, I think it's the time of the Doctor, but it does. Oh. We appear. I think it's no meant a fun episode. I think it's really shows the side of the Doctor that, again, much like the previous episode, that we shouldn't really be seeing. The one who doesn't want to rescue things, who's about to leave. It's not his problem. He's going to just leave Clara alone, and that's an interesting side of the Doctor that. Yeah. Also, this is the first episode of the series to use the new Series 7 Part 2 version of the theme song, which is currently still unreleased. A lot of people have their opinions of Series 7. I think it's a fun one. It's not the best series, but obviously we are on Series 7 Part 1, so there's that. Like I said, it's a very enjoyable episode. Richard Grant is fantastic. Jenna Coleman is always also fantastic as Clara. Yeah, Matt Smith's on top form as 11th Doctor. And just... it's just a genuinely fascinating and enjoyable episode that I think, you know, is one of the better Christmas specials if you ask me. I mean, 11th Doctor had the up and down Christmas special. The last one wasn't so good if you ask me, but hey, that's just a theory. Again, theory. But yeah, it's just one of those episodes that's really interesting at the end of the day. And yeah, that's my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1 Episode 6, The Snowmen. You? We have this, you know, for Series 7 Part 1 to Part 1. I'm also going to be doing, obviously, Series 7 Part 2 soon, and then I'll do a whole ranking of the whole Series 7 probably at the end of the specials video. Series 7 Part 1. Series 7 Part 1, we have the Sign of the Daleks, which is a solid 8. Yeah, 8 for Sign of the Daleks. The last one's on a spaceship. Brian, just because of Brian Williams, I'm going to give it a 7.5. You're going to get a 6 or a 5.5. If Brian Williams exists, it's a 7.5. Cowboy Mercy, that's a solid 8. 7.5. Power 3, 7.5. Angels Take Manhattan, that's a very high 9 for me, and Snowman is also a 9 as well. So yeah, that's that. It's a fantastic series. Series 7 is a very complicated one, and you will be if you're watching the Series 7 Complete Edition video, you're about to hear Series 7 Part 2 start, and before that you'll be hearing the preface, I'll be saying, for Series 7 Part 2, and then Part 2, you'll be able to watch that once that bit finishes. But if you are watching the Series 7 Part 1 review, which is going August 2021, then this will be the end of the video, and the intro will about to be happening. So if you're watching the Part 2 review, here comes that. If you're watching the Series 7 Complete Edition review, here comes Series 7 Part 2. And if you're not, cue that outro. Right, so welcome to the Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2 preface, prelude, intro, whatever you want to call it. This is just the intro. Obviously, if you're watching the Doctor Who Complete Edition, then you won't. In fact, you will be hearing this is exactly what it's made for. So if you're watching that, you will be hearing. You've obviously just seen me sign off about Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1, which obviously, me speaking about that was about 3 hours ago after it had been uploaded. But this is Series 7 Part 2. So here is what to expect with the coming Series 7 Part 2. So we have the Bells of St. John, the Wings of Afrikaans, Cold War, Hyde, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, the Crimson Aura, and Nightmare in Silver. And then obviously after that we have the Doctor Who 5th Anniversary Specials, which include Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, and an Adventure in Space. And So stay tuned for those. They should roughly be about 10 minutes each, so that will be another 40-minute video. If not a bit more than that, really, at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm recording the Series 7 Part 1 review is already live on the channel. You're hearing Tour and Tour's music because why the fuck not? My god, like seriously, why the fuck not? It's good music. Anywho, I will hand you over to Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 1. Or technically Episode 7 of Series 7, but I'll talk about that in a minute. The Bells of St. John. So yeah, there it is now. Right, so welcome to Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2 review. Now, if you are watching the Doctor Who Series 7 Complete Edition review, you've just heard me do the preface, preface intro thing, which was about a minute before 6 seconds long. So, you know, this is me handing over what I've just handed, you know, I've been taken, I handed it over, and this is me. You know what, this is a shit thing, so I'm going to stop talking about it. So you just heard me say that. If you're just watching the Series 7 Part 2 review that I'm going to be putting up, which will be about, I don't know how long it will be, but it will be sometime long. Then, welcome. This is the Series 7 Part 2 review. We're going to go through what we've got coming up, and then we're going to talk about the opener of Series 7 Part 2, The Bells of St. John. So, without further ado, obviously we have The Bells of St. John, The Wings of Akatan, Cold War, Hyde, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, The Crimson Aura, and Nightmare in Silver. Now, as you probably have already guessed, all of Series 7, including Part 1 and Part 2, and the anniversary specials, are all, yes, all, one part. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it's just one of those episodes where I think the series as a whole is going to be an intriguing one. There's definitely a lot of interesting stuff. I love Clara as a character. I think she's fantastic. Like I said, I've said this in previous reviews, and I will say this again. Amy and Clara are the best companions you who have had ever, period. You want to come and fight me? Come and fucking fight me. I don't care what you say. Bearing in mind, I have not yet watched any of Bill Potts other than twice upon a time, so keep that in mind. But as for me, it has to be Clara and Amy. I can't tell you which one I prefer, but they're fucking fantastic. Don't get me wrong, Rose, Martha, Donna. I have to admit, if there's any other one that comes anywhere near these two, it is Donna with 10 and Series 4. I think the stand-up part of Series 4 is the Doctor and Donna just being fucking comedy fucking gold. But like I said, it's Amy and Clara for the win. I don't ask me who I think is better because I couldn't answer that question. They're both just as good as each other. They're just fucking weird, quirky. You've got the fiery Scottish girl, and then you have the quirky one. That's what Clara is. She's the quirky one, and I think that's definitely shown off in this episode here. But I think, like I said, I like the concept of them being in the Shard. And obviously, at the end, it's revealed that it is still the Great Intelligence, which I do believe the Great Intelligence. The Great Intelligence does play a part in future episodes of Who. Obviously, more particularly from what I can remember, the name of the Doctor and name of the Doctor. Name of the Doctor. Yeah, name of the Doctor. But yeah, like I said, the Bells of St. John is one I don't remember too well, but I do like the idea of people being tracked on the internet. I like the idea of them being in the Shard and being able to control people and stuff like that. I do like the idea of you know what, I also like the idea of beans. Okay. What I meant to say is I like the idea of the Great Intelligence being. I like the idea of taking people and storing them on the internet. That's a genuine thing that could be a thing that happens in the future. But as I said, it's an interesting start to Series 7. Clara is awesome. I like the little stuff like where she says Oswin and stuff, and the when you have all that stuff. And this story arc to do with Clara is a fantastically fun one, with a lot of those moments where she pauses and goes, what did you just say? I love those moments. They're epic. They're funny. Not they're funny, but you know what I mean. They're epic. They're cool. They're funky. And obviously he only just recently lost Amy, but he doesn't seem to be too moved by it. But speaking of Amy, there is a lovely reference to Amy in this episode, and it's not explicitly pointed out because the Doctor never gets hold of the book. Only we see it, which is obviously actually intended towards the audience. And that is that when Clara was talking to Reg, or I can't remember her name, one of the children, she hands Clara a book, and it's in shot for about 10 seconds for that reason. Usually only being shot for 2 seconds. It's in shot for about 10 or 20 seconds. It's the front of the book, so I can't remember what the book was called, but it said, by Amelia Williams. Now, if you don't realise, that is in fact Amy Pond, because she married Rory, and also that makes her Williams, or Amelia Williams. Full name gang, let's go. That's not me, my full name is Beans. Beans McBeans, that's my full name. Beans McBeans. But yeah, I like that little Easter egg too, Clara. I think it's fun. Don't care. But yeah, I like Easter egg to Amy. I think as the whole episode is just really fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's quite. I like the Doctor waiting out for Clara and stuff. That's cool, and the Doctor hunting for Clara and all that is pretty sick. And the whole bit at the beginning where they said that the girl who died twice was just kind of sick. But like I said, we'll explore more of that a bit later on and all that stuff, and I can't wait to see the rest of this series. But as a whole, I just think the driving up the shard thing, that's an iconic sort of thing. It's just an all-round quite fun second part of Series 7. Obviously split nicely into 2 parts, and I can't wait to experience and share my thoughts and feelings on those parts of it. So yeah, coming up now is my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 2/Episode 8 of Series 7, The Wings of Akaton. Get you right about now. Right, so welcome to Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 2, Episode 2/Series 7, Episode, Series 7, Episode 8, The Wings of Akaton. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be straightforward with you here. I find this episode extremely boring. And it's not one of those episodes where it's genuinely just bad all around. It's just boring. And doesn't mean that there isn't good performances, because everyone around gives a fantastic performance. Doesn't mean the music's bad. Doesn't mean the writing's bad. I think it's just down to the concept, but at the end of the day, everyone involved didn't intend to make it shit. Which is not, by the way. Which is not the right word to describe what I believe this episode is. I think the correct word is boring or underwhelming. I think that was a brilliant one, but it's just not my cup of tea, and I found myself bored. But that being said, I think the actor playing the little girl, does a fantastic job. I think Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman are both their characters respectively. I think the music is still good by Murray Gold, but I just think other than that, it's just a bit. Could been a better episode. I think the Bells of St. John was a cracking start to Series 7 Part 2, but the Rings of Akaton is a bit weak. Cold War is a great continuation. But yeah, like I said, the Rings of Akaton is just a bit of a weird one, really. I don't particularly like it. I don't know if really there is much more to say. But what I will put my 2 pence on this is that I think set design, fantastic. Visuals in this episode, awesome. Yeah, just overall, I have to admit, the 50th anniversary era specials are something that I'm very looking forward to, but here with this one, there's a few things set up. Obviously, the continuation story of who and what. Clara. Obviously, one of the better parts of this episode, I believe, is the backstory to Clara with the leaf and her mother and her father, and I think that's really cool to see them trying to develop Clara. And when you go back and look at how Doctor Who has treated characters' parents in the past, look at Rose. her mother Jackie. Terrible. Not mistreated, but I suppose that was the first series where they had to just try and make something up like that, and I think that's an interesting way. And her father is, the way they treated that, and then have Martha, whose parents were tangled up in the whole thing, and whose mother, at least, was not on the side of the Doctor, and the mother appeared more than the father did for Martha. And then you have Donna Noble, whose mother and grandfather. And I have to admit, if any single character had the best set of parents the show's ever seen, rivaling Brian Williams only, I think I would love to see an episode where Wilfred Mott and Brian Williams are in the same scene at the same fucking time. That shit would be fucking dope. By that I mean I'd like to see Donna Noble, Rory Williams, Amy Pond, Brian Williams, the 11th Doctor, and the 10th Doctor, all in one scene at one time. But getting back to what I'm trying to say, obviously with Donna, that's what they did with her parents there, and then with Amy though it's a bit different, because Amy, and I think that is what the Moffat era definitely does, is that there is less focus on the characters' parents as a whole. They're still part of the backstory, but they're not as involved as they were in the Russell T Davies era, because every single character in the Russell T Davies era, their parents were directly involved in multiple episodes, in some way, shape or form. I've already mentioned. But when you look at the Moffat era, that's really not there. Sure, Amy's parents are mentioned here and there in several episodes in series 5 and 6, and they're even brought back. We don't see them. They're not focused characters. They're not well-remembered characters. And the same with Clara's parents. They are there. They do have important storylines that involve them, including this quite interesting one in this episode where the Leaf and the most important Leaf in the universe, which, albeit, is a fantastic storyline. But what I'm trying to say is they ain't no Wilfred Mott, and they ain't no Brian Williams. And like I said, the only real parent of any of these companions that even had a single lasting impact in the Moffat era was, of course, your boy, Brian Williams, father of Rory Williams. And stepfather, I don't know. I'm not going to go into that because that's a bit boring. But yeah, like I said, it's just an episode that for me doesn't quite hit the spot. And but yeah, like I said, it's just an episode that I think is not exactly the best. I don't know what's going on with the audio. I sincerely apologise. But yeah, coming up next, my review of Doctor Who Series 7, Part 2, Episode 3, Cold War, / Series 7, Episode 9, Cold War. But yeah, that's coming up to you right about now. Yeah. So, Doctor Who Series 7, Part 2, Episode 3, Cold War / Episode 9 of Series 7 as a whole. Right off the bat, it's great to see the Ice Warriors back. There's also a famous British actor in this one, James Norton, who plays one of the soldiers, I suppose. Yeah, but like I said, another thing to mention is it's cool to see the Ice Warriors again. This episode is also written by your boy Mark Gatiss, so obviously I imagine he took this inspiration from wanting to bring back, and it does continue the tradition of bringing back a classic Q monster in every series. So obviously with Series 1, that was the Daleks. With Series 2, it was the Cybermen. With Series 3, there wasn't one, but that series is the only exception. With Series 4, it was the Sontarans. With Series 5, it was the Silurians. With Series 6, I do believe there wasn't one. Don't at me in the chat. Yeah, there wasn't one in Series 6. And then obviously with Series 7, it is the Ice Warriors. And I don't think there is another one brought back after that. That's the whole shebang of bringing back classic villains and all that, as far as I'm aware. Oh, technically the Autons were in Series 1 as well, but we'll leave that alone. So yeah, this is the final one people about the Ice Warriors. A very famous classic Who villain. They're fun peoples. They're just memes. Oh, I do think it's very well written. Personally, I think it's an episode that has great music to it. I think Clara is great here. I like the captain can be funky at times, but not the best. You know, it's just nice episodes that screams. I mean, like I said, the whole idea of it being set just in the submarine, and that's it. That's the core concept, and I like that concept. And Clara is always on top form. Jenna Coleman's Clara, fantastic as always. And Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor as well, both on top form. They're both fantastic. They're both quite cool characters. They're both fun and enjoyable. Like I said, I've always believed this as a fact, that the 11th Doctor had the best companions, period, in Amy, Rory, and Clara. So, like, that's just a physical fact, in my opinion. So, just get all the way off my fucking back, please. But, bro, bro, Ghostbusters 2 original score, nice. Boy. But yeah, like I said, it's just an episode that I think I like the Ice Warriors. Cool to see the Ice Warriors. I like there's a lot of concept of martial law and stuff like that, which is cool to see. And it's another instance of someone not believing the Doctor straight away, and then eventually believing him being awesome and all that lovely jubbly bellabadoo, flower badoo fadoo hoo doo doo. But yeah, it's just a genuinely fun episode. Good fun, interesting ending where the TARDIS is parked in the South Pole and they are in fact in the North Pole. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I think as a whole it's fun, but I think also it just is something that it's just something that personally it's just something that I think is quite fun. And it's just an enjoyable episode all around. Yeah, it's just a genuinely all-round episode that's quite fun. I like the concept of it just being on the sub and that's it. So basically, it's in this one enclosed environment until obviously the end and that. But you know, I think it's fun and everything, and I definitely enjoy it as a whole. And I think you know, it really. Why? I just think it's really. It's just an episode that I think, while you know, there's definitely some elements he could work on. I still think at the same time. At the same time, it's just all round fun, and I think the concept of the Ice Wars being brought back, that's really cool. But at the end of the day, I think there is so much more you could do that, you know, it could have been explored more, I feel like. But yeah, like I said, it's just an episode that I think is all around fun. It's enjoyable, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the Doctor Who universe. It's an episode that I think is, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it. It's cool to see a single person enemy instead of a big army. That's kind of cool. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the next episode, Hyde, is not one that I remember very well. And but I'm looking forward to Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, the Crimson Horror. We are coming to the end of Series 7 part. I say that we're probably about in the middle. We've got Hyde, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, the Crimson Horror, and Nightmare and Silver left before moving on to the 50th anniversary specials. So look forward to that. But yeah, this has been my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 3, Cold War / Episode 9 of Series 7. Up next is my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 4 / Episode 10 of Series 7, Hyde. Coming at you right about now. Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode what? Episode 4 / Episode 10 of Series 7, Hyde. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be quite frank here. This episode is fucking boring. And I'm not even... I can't lie. I spent most of this episode looking at my phone, and that's just... good today. A couple of things I want to explore off the bat. If I can fucking get it to work. In terms of famous British actors and or other actors related to the rest of Doctor Who, we have Douglas B. Scott here. If you in Mission Impossible 2 in 2000, but that's besides the point. And the other one is Rahan, who in the Doctor Who verse, obviously she's more famous than for playing a character in the hit BBC television show called The Midwife, but in the Doctor Who verse she plays the lady in this episode, but she also plays Miss Verity Lambert in an adventure in space and time. So yes, that is the thing. But yeah, like I said, it's really boring, but what will give credit, fantastic job putting together. And if there's any reason to watch this episode, it's because the cast is fucking fantastic. Everyone's on top form here, and it's great to see them all on top form, even the actors who only appear in this episode. The next 3 episodes are ones that I recall enjoying a lot, specifically the Crimson Horror, one of the better episodes of Series 7. Series 7 as a whole, when you take it parts 1, part 2 and the 50th anniversary things that end into account, it's a mixed bag. It really is a mixed bag, but we'll get to that at some point, hopefully. Oh, fuck me. But yeah, it's just, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna be quite frank, it's really boring. There's just no, I just didn't enjoy it. That's all I can say. I just find it hella boring. There's nothing there keeping it going, if you ask me, and I think that's a big problem. But yeah, other than that, it's a fun episode and I enjoy it, yeah. Thanks for watching, listening to this part of the review. Come on, now you've obviously got my favorite Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2 Episode 5 / Episode 11 of Series 7. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, coming at you right about now. So, hello, welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Episode. Oh, what is it? Episodes... Series 7 Part 1. Series 7 Part 1 Episode... Episode, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Episode 5 / Episode 11 of Series 7, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. Now, I'm not going to lie to you when I say that this episode is very enjoyable. I got you there. You thought I was going to say shit, but no. I'm not going to lie to you. It's quite fun, but it does have its lower moments. I think conceptually it's a fantastic episode, an idea of journeying to the centre of the TARDIS to see different parts of it, and that's one of the highlights of this episode, to see different
parts of the TARDIS in more light and more fun areas and environments is pretty fucking sick, and that's what I love about this episode. But given the same merits, I do believe that personally. The whole concept of the TARDIS, conceptually, and seeing the inside of it is really sick, isn't it? Like I said, it's something that we technically explored in the episode The Doctor's Wife, where House traps Amy and Rory inside the TARDIS and we see different parts of it, but not to the extent that we see the TARDIS here. And that's what makes this episode so fucking fun, really, at the end of the day. Because you see the centre of the TARDIS, you see different parts of the TARDIS, you see Clara, and then you also see what sets up, essentially, the Day of the Doctor and the end of the 11th Doctor specials, that kind of section of time. It sets those up quite well. It starts to set them up in the Time War is brought up and the Doctor's name, and that's a cool thing. And obviously it also is a part of this episode where they dive deeper into Clara and Clara's existence and all of that stuff, you know. And I think that's what breeds this episode to be really fucking fun, personally. But yeah, it's all good here. It's a good episode. Very fun. Chicken McNuggets. McCheeseburger. But yeah, like I said, it's an all-round just a very enjoyable episode. A solid one. It's a cool, like, conceptually, on paper, it was a brilliant idea. And, what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. On paper, it's a brilliant idea. In reality, it also was brilliant. And yeah, like I said, it's just one of those really fun episodes that you really get to explore a part of the TARDIS. And again, like I said, it's almost all just on the TARDIS and inside the TARDIS. So it's not big open space worlds and walking around stuff and that. And don't get me wrong, as we come to the end of Series 7, I do realise that Series 7 was and still is not exactly the most memorable series of Doctor Who. But if I can say one thing, is that even the weakest series has some highlights. And if I could just tell you what some episodes that, hey, if you're going back and wanting to watch a random episode of Doctor Who, I would implore you, nay, command you, if you want to look at something in Series 7 but you don't want to look at the boring things and the bad stuff, then I'd recommend you just hear me out here. I recommend A Sign of the Daleks, Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, The Angels Take Manhattan, The Snowmen, The Bells of St. John, Cold War, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, and The Crimson Horror. If you're like me, going through all of Doctor Who, big up. That's all I can say. Big fucking up. But yeah, this has been my review of Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 2, Episode 5, / Episode 11 of the series, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've actually switched microphones to my Blue Snowball mic to see maybe if that might work a bit better, because I just feel like audio-wise on the other microphone, this thing you can hear, I'm not 100% happy with it personally. And I do remember the Snowball being quite good, but I used to fucking do this and put my face right up to the mic so I sound like a fucking idiot. But now I've learned to just bring myself back a bit, and hopefully this has worked out quite well. And I might just disconnect whatever the fuck this is, but still leave it here for when I'm doing, like, you know, epic things, which is fun. But yeah, thank you. This has been my review of Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 2, Episode 5 / Episode 11 of Series 7, Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Coming out now is my review of Doctor Who, Series 7, Part 2, Episode 6 / Episode 12 of Series 7, The Crimson Horror, one of the better ones. And obviously we are entering the final 2 episodes of Series 6, Part 2, and we're moving swiftly on to the 11th Doctor finale trilogy and an adventure in space and time that is known as the Doctor Who 50th Anniversary Special. So we're looking forward to that. I've got thumbnails for all of that stuff. I've got music I'm going to use. I'm way ahead of the game here. Not quite done it for Series 8 yet. In fact, I'm so ahead of the game that there's a delisted playlist on Spotify that contains all the music I plan to use or / have already used in these Doctor Who reviews. So all the stuff I'm going to use for series 8 through 12, it's already there and ready to go, and I cannot wait to get to, trust me, as much as I've been able to talk quite a lot about 11 here, I think there'll be a lot more to talk about to some extent when it comes to series 8 and 9, because like I said, those were the 2 series of Doctor Who, specifically 8 and a 1 episode, specifically 8 more than 9, but I still remember series 9 quite a lot as well. And obviously series 11 and 12, there'll be lots to talk about there, because I have a lot of personal feelings towards the 13th Doctor. She's fantastic and magnificent, and trust me, I think she genuinely is, without, I don't mean it in a bad way, she is 11.2, and that's perfect, because she channels the childlike innocence and magic of the 11th Doctor. And if you fuck with me, you're actually genuinely completely fucking fucked. 11 contains, and she channels it, and she turns it up to, well, 13. See what I did there? Epic left finalies. But yeah, here's that review of, I can't bother to say it again, all the fucking shit, Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, episode fucking 6. That's what it is, actually, episode 6, slash 11? No, slash 12. 6/12. The Crimson Aura. Come out you right about now. Bye. Right, so, whoa. Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2. Now, I just want to address that in the last bit you just heard me talk about, I actually said Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1, which I shouldn't have said, and I also got the numbers wrong. That one wasn't 6, and this one isn't 7. Sorry, no, that one wasn't, yeah, that one was 5, and this one is 6. Yes, this one is 6. This one is 6. And this is, of course, Series 7 Part 2, Episode 6 slash, I think it's... Series 7 Part 2, Episode 6/12, The Crimson Aura. Now, right off the bat, what I want to say is this. Now, we've had a lot of British actors and actresses over these episodes of Doctor Who, mainly actors, but I think when one is asked who they think is perhaps the most prevalent, most famous and most important British actor to ever appear in Doctor Who, one stumbles across the Crimson Aura and tells it as it is. I think quite possibly the greatest guest actor in Doctor Who history, the late great Dame Diana Rigg, stars here as Mrs. Gilliflower, and she does a fantastic job. Now, those of you who follow my channel or follow Bond and Doctor Who know exactly how important Dame Diana Rigg is to Bond and stuff like, the original Avengers TV show. And obviously for Bond, she betrayed Tracy DiVincenzo, also known as Tracy Bond, in the 1969 James Bond film on Her Majesty's Secret Service, alongside George Lazenby as James Bond 00769. No, but it was in 1969, and funnily enough, that was actually a point in time where Doctor Who still existed. Not still existed, what kind of fucking phrase is that? Did exist. Was on air quite early on in the show. I believe that was, we're talking, yeah, the end of the Second Doctor era. The Second Doctor era was 1966 to 69. Yeah, that's that. But back to the Crimson Aura. I think the Crimson Aura is one of the best episodes of New Who. I'm 9,000% sure it was written by it was written by Mark Gatiss. I'm like 90% sure it was written by Mark Gatiss. Let me just check this shit. Yeah, it was written by Mark Gatiss. So, that's there. Like I said, Dame Diana Rigg as Mrs. Gilliflower. Yeah, Mrs. Gilliflower. But like I said, the whole episode is fantastic. One of my favourite parts of it is we get to see the Paternoster gang again. And the Paternoster gang are fantastic. Obviously, that's Jenny Flint, Madame Vastra, and Strax. And these three people are just fucking awesome. The Paternoster gang are one of my favourite Doctor Who allies. They're fucking awesome. The three of them are fantastic. And Jenny Flint shows her badass side in this episode, where she does that badass scene where she fucking just knocks someone out. It's mad. And obviously, Madame Vastra being a Silurian, and a Scottish Silurian in that, because the actress portraying Madame Vastra is in fact Scottish. And another thing about about that specifically is that in the episode of Doctor Who known, obviously in the episode, the Hungry Earth Cold Blood in series 5, so all the way back in series 5, where we had the Hungry Earth Cold Blood, yeah, that's what it was called. The same actress who portrays Madame Vastra portrayed both of the two female Silurians that, well, we can assume, you know what I mean, both those two. She basically, if I tell you to, she basically played both Alea and Restak, the two female, the Silurian sisters, who, and obviously Alea was the one who died, so obviously that's why they weren't in the same scene together, because she was dead. But also she, again, like I said, she then went on to portray Madame Vastra in A Good Man Goes to War, and would return the Crimson Aura, and then turn into her Christmas special, The Snowman. Obviously she's in the Crimson Aura in the Name of the Doctor. Then, you know, she also does... But yeah, like I said, it's just fantastic to see the Paternoster gang, and all three of them are funny. Strax is fucking hilarious. Jenny is badass. Madame Vastra is just mental. It's fucking hilarious. Like I said, the Crimson Aura is so well written and done, and obviously to have the acting talents of Dane Dannerig in an episode of Doctor Who is absolutely fucking fantastic. It's just an all-round one of the best episodes of New Who I've seen in a very long time, and you know, like I said, it's just fucking awesome. It's just fucking awesome. It's just literally, I think it definitely is the standout episode of Series 7 Part 2, and obviously leads us nicely into the next episode, The Nightmare in Silver. What it also does is tie up some of the ends that appeared in the Snowmen, where obviously the Paternoster gang were there too, and they saw Clara Oswald in that episode, but that Clara Oswald died in that episode. But obviously they were both very confused when, three of them were very confused when there's another Clara Oswald who doesn't know the Paternoster gang or anything like that, or the Doctor, that part in time. And that's an interesting thing, and like I said, it will continue to be developed into this 50th anniversary specials. But this has been my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 6/12, The Crimson Aura. Currently, that's my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 7/13, Nightmare in Silver, coming up right about now. Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, Episode 7/12. No. Yes. Series 7/13. Fuck, I got that really wrong. Nightmare in Silver. Now, Nightmare in Silver, off the bat, we have famous British actor. Check. We have Warwick Davis as Dark Emperor. And we have, your boy Jeffrey. We have, Jason Watkins as Wembley, two big British actors. So those are here. The concept of a cyber story in a theme park. I mean, obviously, as a theme park enthusiast myself, that screams just me in a fucking nutshell. So it is a really enjoyable episode for me, but I think the theme park aspect is obviously completely overthrown by the fact that the Cybermen are constantly upgrading, and I like that. That's a really cool concept to see the Cybermen constantly evolving and upgrading themselves. That's really, really fucking cool, and to be honest, that's super lit. So it's cool to see. But yeah, like I said, it's just one of those things where it's a fun, enjoyable episode. It's really great fun. It's cool to see Clara and the kids, as the episode states them to be. You know, it's quite fantastic. You know, obviously the next episode is a biggie, but as I previously mentioned, it's an interesting turn of events that leads us to this point in time. I think as a whole, it's a fantastic episode. It's really well written. And as I said previously, I think it's really fun. It's quite enjoyable. Oh, it was written by Neil Gaiman, so I suppose that does explain quite a lot. Yeah, it's just a genuinely really fun episode. I like the Cybermen constantly evolving, and I like all of that stuff. It's really sick and fun. Porridge is cool, a really cool character. Yeah, like it's a really fun, enjoyable episode. But yeah, like I said, it's just a genuinely an all-round fucking brilliant episode of Doctor Who. And, you know, it's just really enjoyable, really fun, top-notch episode that I cannot recommend enough. It's one of the better cyber stories I've had of recent memory, I think. And I think I want to mention about pretty much every single cyber story I've watched up until this point, at least, and I'm convinced that it will be in future cyber stories, but I haven't seen them in a while, so I can't tell you. But every cyber story I've watched up until now has featured at some point, even the smaller ones like Closing Time, the Cybermen theme cue, which I think is fucking fantastic. The na 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 na, like, that fucking shit is fucking sick, and I want you to keep fucking doing that, Doctor Who. Keep fucking doing that. It's sick. But yeah, that's my review of Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2 Episode Episode 7/13 Nightman Silver. Now, what's about to happen? If you are watching the Series 7 Part 2 review, the video will end and you will be about to see the outro. But if you're not and you're watching the Series 7 Series 7 Complete Edition review, you're about to be handed over to me in about 5 minutes after I've recorded this, giving the preface intro for Doctor Who, the 5th anniversary specials. So, without further ado, it's either get ready for the outro or the preface and intro for the next part. So, cue that outro and or preface intro now. But wait, there's more. I forgot to do something, so we're going to do it now. This is being recorded after I've recorded the preface for the series 5th anniversary special. But what I forgot to do was give you my breakdown of ratings for each episode of Series 7 Part 2 and the overall series rating. So we're going to do it now. I'm going to stitch this on the end of the episode video, and then obviously I'll go over what's going to happen afterwards again for the second time. But yeah, here we go. So Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2. So and obviously at the end of the 50th specials video, I will then give my entire thoughts, feelings and rank of the entirety of Series 7 as a whole. In fact, I'll probably go at the end of the Series 7 Complete Edition review, so if you want to hear that, you'll have to watch that video. But for Series 7 Part 2, we have The Bells of St. John, which I will give a solid 9. The Rings of Akatan, that's a 6. I don't know if I can give it a 6, to be honest with you. Quite frankly, I'm tempted to give that one a 4. Cold War, we'll just not talk about that, shall we? Cold War, that's a 7.5. Hyde, fucking 4. Fucking absolutely 4, that's dreadful. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, 8. Crimson Aura, that's a fucking 10, by the way. That slaps. And Nightmare in Silver, that's a solid 9. So, like I said, best episode of the series, The Crimson Aura. Weakest episode of the series, without a shadow of a motherfucking doubt, Hyde. So, yeah, that's what I forgot to talk about at the end of the previous video. Not the previous video, you just heard it because I'm fucking stress editing. This is currently 6 o'clock and I have to watch all this shit, which I'll be able to do, but will I be able to get the videos out? That's the thing. I don't really give a shit with these videos, but yeah. As I'm saying, if you are watching the Series 7 Part 2 video, I'm about to end the video and the outro's about to play. But if you're watching the Complete Edition review, which this segment will in fact be in, you will be handed over to me from 5 minutes ago, and the preface intro for the 50th anniversary special. So without further ado, it's either cue that outro or cue that intro. I'll hand you over now, / cue that outro. So without further ado, cue that outro / cue that intro. Right, so this is the Doctor Who series, Doctor Who 50th anniversary specials, preface / intro sort of thing. So it's just me sort of complaining. Yes, we are still here. This video is going to be really fucking long. Now, obviously we're covering on this part that you're about to hear me talk about. We'll be covering Time of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, Nigel of the Doctor. So we'll be covering Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, and an adventure in space and time. So that's what we'll be covering in the upcoming segment. I've just realised I forgot to do a Series 7 ending, so I'm going to record that in a minute. But that's what we're covering here on the 50th anniversary specials. So yeah, like I said, I just want to preface this with the 50th anniversary specials is an incredibly important episode, by which mean I'm talking about specifically Day of the Doctor, and to an extent Time of the Doctor, because I remember that. I don't remember Name of the Doctor particularly well, but it is a fun one. But specifically Day of the Doctor as a very important episode for me, because it's one of the earliest episodes I watched in the show's history. In terms of, like, in general, I think I watched a few episodes on TV when I was a bit younger, but 11th Hour, that's the one. 11th Hour, and then it was the End of Time Part 1, the End of Time as a whole, and I got that promotional DVD and that. I remember seeing those, but not when they first came out and stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's just a very important one to me, and I hope that you can enjoy my personal opinions of it and all that. And yeah, coming on, you're about to hear me talk about Name of the Doctor right about now. So I'll hand you over to myself for my review of Doctor Who 50th Anniversary Specials, Episode 1, Name of the Doctor, coming at you right about now. Right, welcome to the Doctor Who 50th Anniversary Specials review. Now, like I previously, like I'm going to mention now, we are covering 4 episodes / programs of Doctor Who. Those are Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, and an adventure in space and time. The biographical, kind of 50th anniversary special film about the making of the original Doctor. It's a docudrama about how the first Doctor Who was made. Basically, that's all you need to. No. So that's what we'll be covering, and today, or not today, now we'll be looking at Name of the Doctor. Now, the Name of the Doctor has Richard D. Grant reprising his role as Dr. Simeon, the Great Intelligence from the Snowmen, but he is actually the Greatest Intelligence. He's not Dr. Simeon, which is, there you go. This also has a lot of Easter eggs where we see shots of Doctors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We also see 9 in one part towards the end of the episode, so there is that. But we don't see 8, and we don't see 10. But we do hear, I think we do hear 10, but we don't see 10. But yeah, and obviously it's just, what I'm saying is this episode is genuinely fantastic. It's a really damn good episode. Now, a lot of people don't like it because it changes, because it definitely is one of those ones that changes the rest of Doctor Who for a while. Which definitely, when you want to talk about episodes that change all of Doctor Who, we'll get to that at the very end of Series 12, if you know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. But with this episode, I just really liked. I'd love to see the Paternoster Gang back again. Like I said, the Paternoster Gang are fucking fantastic. Drax, Madame Vastra, and Jenny Flint. Absolutely fantastic to see the three of them. It's funny to see Drax discovering Scotland, which is funny because the way I see it, Jenny says, "Oh, he's on holiday," and then Vastra says, "Oh, I wish he never discovered that place." And then when it cuts him in Scotland, I think to myself, in other words, Drax discovered Scotland, which is the funniest shit in the world because it does make sense, don't you think? But yeah, it is funny to see Drax in Scotland fighting and stuff, and sure, the plot line of Clara moving into the Doctor's timeline. So I think it's a really just well done episode. It is cool to see Clara weaving through the Doctor's timeline to find out truly who Clara is in this and that moment. And it's just an episode that I think, like I said, as it's part of the 5th anniversary specials, it's got an interesting, structure to it. Obviously, River, expect to see Madame Vastra and River interacting, even for the brief moments that it was fucking awesome. Because those two characters, the characters I've wanted to see interact for a very long ass fucking time. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's just a fantastic episode. All round, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I think that as an entrance to the 5th anniversary specials, it's really just a great starting point. I think, like I said, to see the Paternoster going back again, it's fantastic to see, the Trenzalore and the Grave situation. That's quite a cool concept. Thinking that, and obviously what I love is the concept of when the Doctor dies, his grave is the TARDIS. But not only that, but the fact that the big on the inside concept just blasts in on itself, and the TARDIS becomes the size it actually is, and that's really a sick ass concept, and it's brilliant. And as much as it is cool to see the Doctor's grave, it is one of those episodes that almost morbidly dark, and of course we have to talk specifically quite much about the ending that sets up Day of the Doctor very nicely, and that is obviously the introduction of your boy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, that's very disrespectful to the man he is, but to the legendary, late, great actor that is John Hurt, portraying the War Doctor. But obviously in this episode he's not called the War Doctor. I don't think he genuinely is called the War Doctor in the show, but what he is called is the Doctor. But then he's also not called the Doctor, he's the War Doctor. It's really complicated. He's the Doctor that doesn't go by the Doctor until the end of the Day of the Doctor, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the ending of this episode, where Clara sees all of his faces except for that one, and it is very widely known. I'm like 90% sure that the reason why the War Doctor exists for that special is because Eccleston refused to come back to the 50th, so they had to write something to have 3 Doctors in the story, and instead of, getting Paul McGann back as the 8th Doctor and saying the 9th Doctor stuck in a time loop or something like that, or something like that, they just decided to write another Doctor in. Which, to be fair, if it was all based on having John Hurt, then fair dues. You're not going to write John Hurt as the 12th Doctor when you already have Peter Capaldi, although it would have been cool to see John Hurt as the 12th Doctor. But nonetheless, that is awesome to see John Hurt as that Doctor. I think, again, Murray Gold's music here is fantastic, especially towards the end. I have to look up what that damn track is, bro. So my toes and have a roll. I want to. But yeah, like I said, I think it does reach a certain point where it definitely elevates. This episode is the episode where the 11th Doctor's shell is broken. The wibbly wobbly timey wimey man, the happy-go-lucky mad man in a box, is broken to the man that he really is on the inside, the 11,000-year-old Time Lord who, if you get on the wrong side of him, you learn it that way. And that's what I think makes this episode an interesting one, because I think it's one of the few episodes where you don't see both sides at the same time, and you don't just see the madman in the box side of him, you only see the Time Lord side of him. And I think that's what makes this episode extra special, in that, like I said, you see that version of the 11th Doctor you only see when you mess with him or when things go wrong and stuff like that. And the heart, you see the heart of the 11th Doctor right there. You see the 11,000-year-old whatever he is, Time Lord, that's seen all the stars everywhere in space and time. And I think that's what, like I said, really puts this episode on that pedestal of incredible study of the 11th Doctor, because like I said, it just portrays him as a very different man to who he is portrayed for most of the time. There are glimmers of him being not the psychopath, but the oncoming storm, as they were called, the Valyard, as you might say, that version of the Doctor. Not particularly the Valyard, more the oncoming storm. There's some elements of that in the 11th Doctor, but the 11th Doctor has more of a facade than the 10th Doctor ever did. They both almost had the same level of facade, but I think if you brought the facade down on 11, you'd be in for a lot more hell on Earth than you would be if you did on. But that's for you to decide whether you think it or not. Like I said, it's great to see Clara, my favourite New Who companion. She's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and she's really put to the test here. And I think, yeah. I do recall forgetting to mention in Nightmare and Silver that Matt Smith's acting skills portraying two different things with the face thing was really sick. So I'm going to just mention that here. Matt Smith's acting skills in Nightmare and Silver was really sick, portraying two different people with the cyber intelligence, which was sick. So I'm just going to mention that here. That's that. But like I said, it does show Matt Smith as an actor who really is talented, and I'm glad that he was discovered more after Doctor Who, and that he's more recognisable now as someone other than the Doctor. But yeah, what can I say other than this has been a fantastical meme-filled journey? No, it's not, but it's been this is obviously the start of the special, the 5th anniversary collection, as it's widely known as, or the Blu-ray I've got back there, the 5th anniversary specials, obviously, which contains name, day, and Time of the Doctor, plus an adventure in space and time. So look forward to it. I am very much specifically looking forward to Adventure in Space and Time, because it's really my first outing as for Classic Who, and I probably will upload the Adventure in Space and Time review separately on the channel, as well as embedded in the other one, so I will talk about that when we get closer to that review. And it's a massive fucking bottle. No. But yeah, this has been my review of Doctor Who 5th anniversary specials, episode 1, The Name of the Doctor. Coming out now is my review of Doctor Who 5th anniversary specials, episode 2, The Day of the Doctor. It's a big one, so stay tuned. And yeah, if you're watching the complete edition, that's gonna... I should shut up, I only mentioned that at the beginning and the end. Well, no, the end actually, but yeah. And you are over now to me talking about the Day of the Doctor, and I guarantee you, well, this one is 11 minutes long. I think that one may reach 20 minutes long, but we'll see, because to talk about Day of the Doctor is a big thing for me. But yeah, now it's time for my review of Doctor Who, the 5th anniversary specials, episode 2, The Day of the Doctor. Right, hello, welcome to, welcome, just, bad start, let me refresh. This is the Doctor Who 5th anniversary specials, episode 2, The Day of the Doctor. Now, I mentioned this previously, but we're going to be here for a while talking about the Day of the Doctor, because, well, it's a very special episode for me. It's 77 minutes long. It's really... There's a few things to mention, obviously. The references to all the previous Doctors. We see all the previous Doctors. All that lovely stuff. And there's a lot of musical references to the past, which is sick. And notably, quite a large use of the Doctor's theme from series 1 through 4. Which is kind of sick. Obviously, I feel like Murray Gold used this opportunity to bring back as much music as possible, at the same time also bringing a lot of new stuff to it, which he did do. But obviously there's also the return of the track called Unit, which was used in series 1, 2, was on the series 1, 2 soundtrack, and was remixed for series 4, for the track Unit Works, which I think I did use my Series 4 review, not 100% sure. But yeah, I just think this episode it's really special to me, because it was one of the earliest episodes of Who I ever saw. And as a 50th anniversary special, as a big fuck off tribute to the entire 50-year heritage of the show, it does an absolutely fantastic job of showing. Obviously, it is the episode that reintroduces the Zygons to New Who. They haven't been seen before, so it's an interesting episode to be reintroduced in, as they hadn't been, in any previous New Who episode. No Zygons. This is the first episode to be introduced to them. So Series 7, technically, two old new villains brought back: the Zygons and the Ice Warriors. Now, like I said, Mogo's music is fantastic. Really, with this episode, what it really is about, there's a lot of Easter eggs on the board in the Black Archives, but I also like to see 10 again. It's fantastic to see Billy Piper playing a role. It's not exactly Rose, and it's not the Bad Wolf either. It's the conscience of the moment, disguised as Rose Tyler. So there is that. But it's cool to see the generals and all that. It's just an episode for me that is just so much sentiment and value. It's clear to me from the very get-go that they had a much bigger budget for this episode and this episode alone than any previous episode that New Who has even had, and to an extent maybe even some of the stuff after this episode, because this episode had it's obvious this episode had a fucking massive budget, which makes sense because it's the 50th anniversary special. So that definitely does lead us into, hoping that the 6th anniversary special, if it does happen, gets the same budget. But this is obviously a very big episode for this series. It was very much heavily pushed around the time. It was one of the few episodes of Doctor Who that you could, in fact, see in a movie theatre / cinema as it was shown. And I am, not gonna lie, a little bit disappointed I never got to see it in a cinema, because that would have just been fucking sick. Obviously premiering a year after Skyfall. But yeah, it's a great tale. It's very well set up at the end of the previous episode, the name of the Doctor. And while there is no Madame Vastra or Strax or Jenny, there is Clara, there is the Moment, there is the War Doctor, which I probably should talk about sooner rather than later. But I think obviously seeing 10 back again was really sick. Seeing 10 and 11 interact is just one of the best moments of this episode, to see both 10 and 11 really. It's clear these two gentlemen are clearly, some sort of friends and stuff, and they understand each other, I suppose, to an extent. Both having been somewhat unknowns before being cast in Doctor Who, which, catapulted David Tennant to the position he's in today. And obviously David Tennant meeting his wife on the show, who happened to be the daughter of the 5th Doctor, so I suppose Doctor Who really is in the family. But for them at least, and I'm sure all of Tennant's children will watch that show a fuck ton. But yeah, it's a great tribute to the show's past. We see Daleks, we see Zygons, we see, with the ending where you see all the Doctors, what that actually is that is real people that have essentially had the real actors' faces deep faked onto them. Some of them look more convincing than others. I think the one that looks the most unconvincing when you look at that is actually 9, to be quite frank. Not gonna lie. But yeah, as a 5th anniversary special, it knocks it out of the motherfucking park. The whole subplot with the 10th Doctor and Queen Elizabeth, and that in itself is actually resolving something for the 10th Doctor era, which is quite an interesting move, because it was mentioned quite a few times that the 10th Doctor and Queen Elizabeth I, you know, had a relationship, and she was no longer the good Queen Elizabeth anymore. And obviously this is where that stems from. We finally get that resolved. Kinda sick, not gonna lie. And obviously I think one of the most intriguing moments that we just nearly missed out on, but we obviously had the ending. Just thinking about that scene, the final scene where the curator, played by the great Tom Baker, who, if you don't know, played the 4th Doctor, the longest reigning Doctor of any era of the show. Tom Baker, who portrayed the 4th Doctor between 1974 and 1981, and I think he was definitely someone who was the mind of, I don't want to go. So seeing him in the same room, in the same scene as the 10th Doctor, would have been muy bueno. But that obviously didn't happen. But I think it is a fantastic little role for lots of little role for Tom Baker, with his famous, you know, undoubtedly recognisable voice. And I was just thinking that obviously in that scene it's just 11 and the curator, so the amount of, you know, pressure and anxiety that must have been going through Matt Smith as a person when he had to perform a scene with the great Tom Baker, especially in Doctor Who. He must have been, you know, incredibly high on him, and for him to still be able to be himself, you know, be himself and be his character in that scene is fucking fantastic. So you give the man props. But I do love that scene, and I think the best line that the curator ever gives is when the 11th Doctor is talking about, oh, I could retire and be the curator of this place, and then the curator just goes, you know, I really think you might. And I think that's just really fantastic. That's such a cool line of the way to, you know, get it across specifically. And I think, you know, another thing to mention is Ten Werner Fez. Does Ten Werner Fez, you know, it's kind of just, yeah, really, at the end of the day. I mean, it's cool to see the Zygons back, who are 4th Doctor enemy, returning here in the series. They do play a bigger part in the 12th Doctor's era of episodes, but yeah. It's just, what can I say, it genuinely is a fucking fantastic episode. And you know, it's just there. It is genuinely there, and I think for me it's a very important part of my life as a so-called Whovian, I suppose. For being the first episode I viewed, it definitely left a mark on me, and it's probably the episode is the reason why I'm here, you know, doing this now. I have it on DVD, I have it on Blu-ray, you know, I have the 5th anniversary steelbook, I have a poster of the 13th Doctor and the Family. You know, I've got books, I've got annuals, I've got the 5th anniversary handbook, I've got, you know, I've got a couple of issues, I've got like 10 issues of the Doctor Who magazine upstairs, I've got a Doctor Who comic book, I've got a fucking model of the TARDIS, I used to have the 9th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, I used to have the 11th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I have the Series 12 soundtrack, I have the 5th anniversary soundtrack on CD. I had a copy of The End of Time and The 11th Hour on DVD. This show means so much to me and so many other people, and you know, obviously the series that I watched the most, the first full series I was there every week when it was on TV, was series 8 and 9. I remember them very fondly, but that doesn't mean I don't have an appreciation for everyone who came before and everyone who will come after. Whether it's 5, 7, 11, 12, 2, 7, 6, 4, whoever is your favourite Doctor, it doesn't matter, because every one of them is the Doctor. And while some may be preferred by others, and some be hella underrated, 6. By the way, I'm looking at you 6 on that. But they're all still a doctor, and they all still played a part in someone's childhood. And whenever you ask someone who's their favourite doctor, or whenever I find myself watching reviews of people, they always say the doctor that they grew up with, their doctor. And although it wasn't, most people say that, and although for me, the doctor I almost certainly will be say I grew up with would be 11, would be 12 and 13, I think 11 has left the most marks on me as a person, and so was 12 to an extent, and so was 13, all three of them. But I think 11 and 13 the most have left the most impressions on me, and definitely life lessons to go forward. And I don't care if you think it's a silly old show. It's a silly old show that's been going for 50 years now, and I'm sure there are very few TV shows in the world that have gone for that long with that many fans. So you can say whatever the fuck you want, but for the last nearly 60 years now, this show has entertained countless thousands of people around the world, and it's not going away anytime soon. And stuff like this, and even now, where the show, albeit it's not nice to admit, but it's definitely reached a low point in terms of its popularity and viewership figures, it's still going, and the BBC have clearly showed the signs of, we're not going to get rid of it just yet. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, because not only is it a cultural icon, not only is it a British icon, but it's also a fucking moneymaker. But you know what I mean, first and foremost, you know, there's exhibitions held around the world. Comic-Con, the Doctor Who had their own panel, you know. Anyone who even has any relationship to the show is always remembered for their part in the show, and frequently return, you know. Any cast members have done before, especially in the 90s and 10th Doctor era, and you know, it'll be exciting to see who does and doesn't come back for the 60th anniversary. It would be sick to see Amy again. It would be, I think the 60th anniversary should be a culmination of everything that New Who has accomplished so far, to see everyone come back in some way, shape or form. Every companion, we're talking 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and potentially 14. Rose, Martha, Donna, Amy, Clara, and then obviously Bill, Yaz, Graham, Ryan. All of these people come back in some way, shape or form, and their co-conspirators as well. Captain Jack, Mickey, Jackie, Wilfred, Brian Williams, Martha's parents if necessary, you know, River, you know, all these people, Nardal, the Paternoster gang, Madame Vastra, Strax, Jenny Flynn, everyone. And everything that New Who has built up to this point should be displayed and showcased in the 60th anniversary special. And I ideally hope that's what will happen. But for the 50th anniversary special, it definitely did showcase everything that the show has produced in that 50-year time gap that it had shown us. It showed everything it had done up to that point and more. It showed us what the future is going to look like, and it showed us what the past already looked like, you know. We saw the first glimpse of the 12th Doctor in this episode, and the immediate first thing we see, it wasn't that grumpy smile, it wasn't that grey-eyed hair, it wasn't that flamboyance and pizzazz, it was those attack eyebrows. The one thing that I think 12 is most known for. But, you know, this show is important to everyone, and I think the 5th anniversary showed that to the most nth degree, that it is important, and it always will be important to so many people. It's crossed so many mediums, it's crossed so many countries and so many people's faces, minds and hearts, that it will live on forever. And there's no doubt in that. Long after some people and a lot of people involved in it are there. And I think I was watching the trailer for the 5th anniversary special because I was having to get it to download it, and I read a comment saying, if only Bill Hartnell could see the trailer, to see the 5th anniversary special, and see that the legacy he started, you know, has led up to that point, you know. And I think that's something to really take away from it. That I'm sure Bill Hartnell is smiling, looking down on the 5th anniversary special and the future as well, for something that he started. And there is no doubt in anyone's mind, we would not be here if it wasn't for Bill Hartnell, and we certainly would not be here if it wasn't for Pat Troughton. That's a known fact. If Patrick Troughton hadn't taken over the role of the Second Doctor and captivated people immediately, I don't think there would be a Doctor Who still standing today. I don't think there would be 50 years of this television show if it wasn't for Pat Troughton being as good as he fucking was. I don't think we'd be waiting for the 13th season, and I don't think we'd be waiting to find out who the 14th Doctor is if it wasn't for Patrick Troughton, and if it wasn't for the dedication of all the fans and people, and even people who, you know, spend their life looking for the missing episodes, which is a fantastic thing. There's so many great documentaries about that out there. Josh Snares is a great channel if you want to know about missing Doctor Who stuff. If you want to know about the history of Doctor Who, Clever Dick Films does fantastic documentaries. Literal, I think the BBC genuinely should put his documentaries on the disc as a bonus feature. They are that fucking good that the BBC don't need to make any more documentaries. The BBC don't need to make documentaries about their Doctor Who people, because someone's already done it for them to the level of television stuff, and I think they should broadcast around the world on television. But yeah, that's my opinion. And all I can say is that everyone remembers their first episode of this show, and for some it was a classic 70s or 60s episode, for some it was more modern stuff like Rose. For me, it will be Day of the Doctor, and doesn't mean I never watched any Classic Who. I remember watching several different episodes of Classic Who, including The Green Death, a Third Doctor episode. I remember the episode, I don't know what it's called, but there's a Fifth Doctor episode with a snake and mirrors. I remember that episode very vividly. I remember Logopolis actually quite well as well, but those are a few stories I watched. I have restarted watching Classic Who because that's something I've said to myself I want to have done by the end of 2021, is to watch all of Classic Who from 1963 to 89 and the 1996 TV movie. I already watched the 1996 TV movie because I couldn't wait that fucking long, and I watched it on New Year's. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be reviewing soon as well. But yeah, this has been, you know, a bit of a deep dive into my opinions of the show, and obviously my review of Doctor Who, the Day of the Doctor special for the 5th anniversary. And so yeah, it's just a special that means a lot to me, and obviously I've expressed that opinion here today. And you know, I've gone through the list of Doctor Who related stuff I own in my house. I've got so much of it. I've got character encyclopedias, annuals, guidebooks. I've got a model of the TARDIS. I had the 11th Doctor screwdriver. I had the 9th Doctor screwdriver. I'm not going to do it again, but that's just a few things to mention. I have a doll of the 13th Doctor, which I think is one of the more important ones, because I think whatever the future holds for the show, everyone will be there to see it. Even those people that just blindly hate the show for what it is now, or those people who genuinely have constructive criticism of the modern version of the show, no matter what you say about it, people will always be there to see what happens next. So there'll always be the haters and there'll always be the praisers, and that's a key part of a show. So, you know, for it all to be there and fall into place as well as it did, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic story of stuff, and obviously An Adventure in Space and Time portrays that story absolutely perfectly, and we will get to that. Trust me, we will get to that very, very soon. But yeah, this has been my review of Doctor Who for the 50th anniversary specials, episode 2, The Day of the Doctor. Coming up now is my review of Doctor Who 50th anniversary specials, episode 3, The Time of the Doctor. Without further ado, I'll hand you over to the Time of the Doctor review. Right, so Doctor Who, the 50th anniversary specials, episode 3 or 4, The Time of the Doctor. Now, this episode is all about So Long 11 and Hello 12. As the track, well, the track starts with Hello 12 that you're hearing right now. But it's a fantastic episode, a brilliant almost tribute to the 11th Doctor, and his finale speech at the end of So Long As You Remember All of the People You Used to Be is one of the best. While the 12th Doctor was definitely the master at giving speeches, so even 11 did some fantastic speeches, it was very sad to see 11 go, because like I said, he's my favourite Doctor. So to move forward into the 12th Doctor era, it wasn't as exciting as the change from 10 to 11 was, I'm not going to lie, because the change from 10 to 11 And when I'm saying this in context of not as when it happened, but as when I was watching it back, obviously knowing what 10 would be, what 11 would be, and what 12 would be in the future. For me, to change 10 to 11 was one of joy, excitement. Well, it's still a bit of sadness to an extent as well, because obviously 10 was a very big and important Doctor. But for me, the changeover from 11 to 12 was a lot sadder for me. Still excited to see what's happened, but for me, 11 being my personal favourite Doctor, it was one that was always going to be so difficult to get right, and I think they did the best they could here with this episode. And it's really just one of those episodes that is absolutely fantastic. Him defending the town of Christmas, Trenzalore, him growing old and stuff. It's a fantastic tale of awesomeness, of fantastic, of a man doing what he's always done, protecting people. And obviously the stalemate thing was fantastically funny. Obviously a lot of people note that at this point, with everything Moffat had done in the Day of the Doctor, he had written himself into a massive corner, because obviously we know that the Doctor, it's been known for a while, the Doctor has 12 regenerations, and obviously the Variard is in between the 11th and final incarnation. But away from the Variard, I don't know why I brought that. But it was always known that the Doctor had 12 incarnations. Now, obviously, that sounds like, well, why is that a problem when 11 regenerates, when that would be 12? But as we do know, 11 is in fact 12, because the War Doctor exists. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That they're all who they are. But in actuality, the 9th Doctor is actually the War Doctor. The 9th Doctor is actually the 10th Doctor. The 10th Doctor is actually the 11th Doctor. The 11th Doctor is actually the 12th Doctor. And the 13th Doctor. The 11th Doctor is actually the 12th Doctor. The 12th Doctor is actually the 13th Doctor. And the 13th Doctor is actually the 14th Doctor. So as we know, that means that you put that into account. And also the fact that 10 regenerated twice, that makes it the end for 11. That's how the Doctor should have died on Trenzalore. But as this is a show that keeps on continuing, and Stephen Moffat had written himself into a interesting corner, but it turned out to be a corner that was that probably lent one of the best ideas to get the whole concept of one of the first things that the 11th Doctor saw was what essentially saved him, and that was the cracks in time. The crack in time was the Time Lords. For a moment, I know. And they gave him another life, Now, I always thought when it said a whole new regeneration cycle, that meant 12 more regenerations. But then when you see 12 do the speech at the end of Twice Upon a Time, and I think, but I guess, I suppose it is, because that story was about both of them refusing to regenerate. Both of them were going to regenerate, so that's more about... I am right, because that story was more about both of them refusing to regenerate. I'm a big brain. Anyway, aside from that, I just think it's a genuinely brilliant episode. One of the best... Not one of the best, but I still... You know what? It's really hard to place these episodes in what I feel like is my personal opinion of them, but I think... Just thinking of the journey the 11th Doctor has been through his time, from that very first moment where he looked out the TARDIS, and he stared into the face of little Amelia Pond, all the way through to that final moment where he slides the bow tie off, drops it on the floor, and just smiles. And within a second, and a lift up of the head, 11 was gone, and 12 was born. Obviously, though, 12 was set up a bit more than, say, others, because 12 was seen in Day of the Doctor, so they obviously knew who it was going to be at that point. So, you know, I think the world did as well. No shit. But yeah, I think it was a fitting tribute and a fitting end to a Doctor that definitely from the get-go, not only in general but in the public eye and outside of the TV show in general, faced very much an uphill battle. And I know that, you know, obviously becoming directly after the 10th Doctor was a very big thing that the 12th Doctor had to live with, like in terms of in the media, not in the TV show we're talking about here, not in the context of the show, but outside of it, because not only was the 10th Doctor a fan favourite, it was also a, how can I put this, a public favourite in a way. So replacing the 10th Doctor would have been a very hard challenge, and obviously we know that the 11th Doctor smashed that. And to be fair, when looking back on it, a lot of people said that the end of the 11th Doctor was just as emotional and sad for them as the end of the 10th Doctor, because I think the 11th Doctor proved that the 10th Doctor wasn't a one-off, I think. And I think that's purely because the 9th Doctor was so short in his existence that the next Doctor was always, after 9, was always going to be more impactful than 9 ever was, and why 9 is very much the forgotten, not forgotten, but just when you think of the Doctors, you go for Tom Baker, David Tennant, John Pertwee, Patrick Troughton, Peter Davison maybe. You don't really say people like Paul McGann or Christopher Eccleston or Colin Baker. They're the, not the forgotten ones, they're the, and they're not the bottom of the pile either. They are the uncommon ones, the different ones, the special ones, the ones that I think people should treat with a lot more care, because I think if you delve deep into them, you'll find something quite interesting. And I think I know a lot of people agree in the fact that Christopher Eccleston is one of, if not the most underrated Doctors, but I think there's another Doctor that's even more underrated than the 9th Doctor, and I think you very much know where this is going. And I haven't seen it, actually, period, I've not seen any of this Doctor story, but I believe from the clips I've seen, from the stories I've heard and stuff, that I think the 6th Doctor is a very underrated Doctor. Now I'm yet to experience the 6th Doctor story, so I can't wait to experience it. And I think Colin Baker's a terrific actor, so you know, I can't wait to experience the 6th Doctor stories, which should be fun. But back to this thing, I think, like I said, Matt Smith and the 11th Doctor proved that the 10th Doctor wasn't a one-off. He's not going to be, although he is still the most remembered of the modern Doctors, and people think, oh, he must have stayed really long on like Tom Baker, when in reality, when you compare all the other modern Doctors altogether, the only odd one out at the moment is 9, because David Tennant, 3 seasons, three different series, series 2, 3 and 4, the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, 5, 6 and 7, the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, 8, 9 and 10, the 13th Doctor, 11, 12 and 13, and the 14th Doctor will probably be 14, 15 and 16, but who knows, that's the thing. So yeah, that's just my thoughts and feels on that. I think Time of the Doctor is a fucking fantastic episode. It's a great farewell to my favourite Doctor. It will always be the best Doctor in my opinion. I think he's left that legacy of, after the serious and quite mopey at times 10th Doctor, who can still be very much a laugh. I think the best way to really describe the 11th Doctor, without a doubt, I think I'm going to leave you on this final sentence that is the way I best describe the 11th Doctor. And that is, of course, the man with the box. So yeah, this has been my review of Doctor Who, 5th anniversary specials, The Time of the Doctor, which is episode 3 or 4. And obviously, I'm recording this at 11:30 at night on the 9th of August. I was originally hoping to get this video up by today, but obviously that's not going to happen, and I still have to watch An Adventure in Space and Time. So look forward to that. Coming right now is my review of Doctor Who, the 5th anniversary specials, episode 4, An Adventure in Space and Time, which, by the way, will be uploaded as a separate review, as well as being part of the 5th anniversary specials video and the Series 7 complete video. That's going to be mad. But yeah, bye-bye, and not bye-bye, but yeah, I'll hand you over to myself for An Adventure in Space and Time. Right, so welcome to Doctor Who, the 5th anniversary specials, episode 4, an adventure in space and time. Now, right off the bat, I think what we need to talk about with this episode, with this specific TV movie, is the cast. Now, obviously, we have David Bradley as William Hartnell. Let's get this straight. That the character, obviously, David Bradley appears. He's already appeared in Dinosaurs in a Spaceship in Series 7 as Solomon. He appears here in Adventure in Space and Time, and he also appears in Twice Upon a Time. But to get it straight, in Adventure in Space and Time, he is portraying the actor William Hartnell. In Twice Upon a Time, he is portraying the character of the First Doctor. They are two very different characters, very different things he's portraying. The same man, but one of them is the man, the other one is the man portraying a character in some aspects, but mostly the man. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, in this, he's William Hartnell, but in Twice Upon a Time, he's actually the First Doctor. Obviously, other than your boy, David Bradley, we have Brian Cox as Sidney Newman. Great casting choice. And Brian Cox as Sidney Newman, which is a great choice. We have several other connections to Doctor Who in obviously Jessica Rahane, who we previously discussed, appeared in the episode Hyde from Series 7, and Sacha Dhawan as Waris Hussein, who hasn't appeared in an 11th Doctor episode. He will go on to, and already has appeared as the Master in the Series 12 episodes Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2, and the Timeless Children, and its other one. In the Series 12 episodes Spyfall Part 1, Spyfall Part 2, and the Ascension of the Cybermen, the Timeless Children. So, you know, there is that. And obviously another thing is that there's a couple of cameos here. You have William Russell, who portrayed Ian Chesterton, who appears as the guard of the entrance to the BBC, I suppose. But other than cast and crew and stuff like that, I think this is just a lovely tale. It's most certainly centered around Bill Hartnell and the tale of his journey from not liking the concept of Doctor Who to being very sad when he had to leave, all the way up to his death in 1975. Now, this is obviously very much a classic Who-based concept, no shit, but I think it definitely tells the story of the beginning of Doctor Who in a very, very good way. Like I said, obviously to see a lot of the people like Verity Lambert is a very important and influential producer in all of TV history, and likewise Delia Derbyshire is one of the most important modern composers of time, inventing electronic music with the Doctor Who theme. So to see both of them portrayed in this TV movie is absolutely fucking fantastic. Obviously the use of the old BBC building, which I'm not 100% sure if at the time of filming it was unused, or because obviously in 2013 the BBC disused that studios building and now moved into the new BBC studios, and obviously that's just previously known as the BBC HQ, which was in the news recently as of recording. People tried to storm the BBC studios but ended up storming the BBC HQ instead, which is, what can I say? But aside from that, the important fact here is that this is written by Mark Gatiss, who wrote many a Doctor episodes, and I think it has been known since that he has wanted to recreate and remake the episode Marco Polo with the cast and crew of this TV movie. Obviously that means, you know, the cast and crew, but obviously David Bradley, who plays the First Doctor, and the actors and actresses portraying Susan, Barbara and Ian as well, you know. So I think that would have been a cool concept, but unfortunately it's been 10 years since this was produced, nearly 10 years since this was produced, and I don't think that's gonna work. So if they'd have done it in maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, would have been alright. But I think as it's been too long since this was produced, all of these people have aged dramatically, and specifically what we're talking about is the actress who played Susan / Caroline Ann Ford would be probably too old to portraying a teenager again. So yeah, but I just want to say that Adventure in Space and Time is a fantastic TV movie. And speaking of TV movies, there is the other TV movie associated to Doctor Who, the Doctor Who TV movie, but we'll get to that in due course. But like I said, I just really think this is a brilliant telling of the creation of Classic Who, and me being me, I've seen up to a certain point, and that's not all of the First Doctor yet. I've barely seen any of the First Doctor stuff. the first season. I'm in the second season of the first Doctor at this moment. So seeing certain episodes, this is the first time I'd watched it since I'd seen stuff like An Unearthly Child, and then the other episodes that I brought up, like the Dalek Invasion of Earth and stuff like that. So seeing those episodes from a behind the scenes, and obviously Marco Polo, which I haven't seen because it's not available, but I know I've seen his deals and watched videos about it. So seeing those episodes portrayed in a behind the scenes format was really quite nice, and I think as a documentary it's fantastic. It's great to see composers Delia Derbyshire and Brian Hodgson portrayed in this thing very well as well. There's another deleted scene with them that's not used in this episode, but not used in this TV film, but as a whole, I think the film is absolutely fucking fantastic. And, I genuinely enjoy An Adventure in Space and Time for all that it is. And for me, that's what makes it, a nice and modest and interesting sort of special extras thing for the 5th anniversary stuff. And obviously this one has music by Edmund Butt, which is actually a very good soundtrack for this TV episode. I would have loved to see Murray Gold do it, but to have someone different and new do composing for Doctor Who is pretty fucking sick. So yeah, like I said, I think the tale of the creation of Doctor Who here is portrayed fantastically. All the cast do fantastic jobs. It's great to see I wouldn't describe it as breakdown, but the progression of Bill Hartnell and his time and tenure with the show, and his, I think one of the most interesting parts of it is this very much portrays everyone, obviously he was there from the beginning, and everyone around him from the beginning of the show eventually left until to the point where towards the end of his tenure, no one from the original cast and crew of the early show was there anymore, and I think that's what really affected him. You see it first, we see Susan leave, then it's Verity, then the other two leave, Barbara and Ian leave, and then you just see it progressively get worse and worse for Bill. Not worse, but sort of just progressively less people, around him that know him very well, to the point where there's a scene where someone calls him Bill and he says, "Oh, that's Mr. Hartnell to you, sonny boy, and you can call me Bill once you get to know me a bit better, if you last that long on my show," which is interesting to say the least. But like I said, I just love to see that portrayal. I think everyone does a fantastic job of in this TV movie, and it's great to see Jessica Ryan and Sacha Dhawan opposite each other, two actors who have either been in a Doctor episode before this TV movie and after, in the case of Sacha, so these two that have been in actual episodes of Doctor Who coming together into Adventure in Space and Time, albeit Sacha being in Doctor Who later on down the line. But obviously this was a production in 2013, and it's not widely available to singular. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You can buy the DVD, and obviously the 5th anniversary specials and all that. But yeah, I will be uploading this, just as I mentioned before we move on to the Series 7 complete, because I have to do that here in the specials as well, so that's going to take at least 10 minutes up. But I just want to mention that I will be in the description for this video. So if you're hearing this, there is 3 possible videos you could be hearing this in. 2 of which are going to be going up today on the 10th of August. The other, in fact, all 3 of them will be going up today on the 10th of August, hopefully. And those videos are the Doctor Who the 5th anniversary specials review, the Adventure in Space and Time singular review, where this video will be put up on its own, and the Doctor Who Series 7 complete edition review. So those are the 3 places you'll be able to hear this video that you're listening to right fucking now. But yeah, like I said, I really do enjoy Adventure in Space and Time. After first discovering it as a little thing written by Mark Gatiss, who's one of my favourite, Doctor Who related people, I suppose, because he's acted and written in it. So he's my personal pick for the next showrunner, but I'd also like to see Kate Herron do it. I'm babbling on. But yeah, An Adventure in Space and Time is just a really great look into the making of a cultural icon, a incredibly iconic show. And I was thinking to myself towards the end that as much as Bill Hartnell, if it weren't for Bill Hartnell, this show wouldn't exist at all. But I think when thinking about it, there is 2 people who this show wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Bill Hartnell for starting the legacy, and Pat Troughton for continuing it in only a Pat Troughton way. And by that I mean that Sure, Bill Hartnell started it all, and he definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his fantastic portrayal and the episode The Daleks and all that. But the real one, not to doubt Mr. Hartnell because he's fucking incredible, but I think the real reason, not the real reason, but another reason as to why we're still here today, and probably a more important one, is that if Pat Troughton didn't absolutely nail being the second Doctor and the whole concept of a generation, it was all on his shoulders. The future of the show was essentially lying on this man's shoulders, and what a man you chose to do that, can I say. And he does an absolutely fantastic job at making the show come forward and stuff. And to see him come back for, obviously he's one of the actors that's come back for the most episodes of Doctor Who, returning for the five Doctors, returning for the three Doctors in 1975, in 1973, the five Doctors in 1983, the two Doctors in 1987 or 6, I can't 100% remember. And that's the last Doctor Who episode he appeared in before his death in 1987, I believe. Not 100% sure, not quite on that. But yeah, let me just look this history up. But yeah, the man, he was awesome. But yeah, he returned. The two Doctors were in 1985, by the way. But yeah, before he returned to the show in 1985 before his death in March 1987. But yeah, anyway, back to the Series 7 lovely jobblies. We'll be talking about Series 7 as a whole here, which again you'll be hearing in all three parts. But yeah, Series 7, the complete review now. Or actually, no, I should probably do the 5th chapter. But first, we're going to cover the... Fudge off, please. Fudge off, bro. We're going to first cover the 5th anniversary specials and what I give them rankings-wise. So, the name of the Doctor, that's a solid 8, to be honest with you. The Day of the Doctor's a 10. I'm sorry, it has to be a 10. Time of the Doctor, that's a 9 as well. And I think Adventure in Space and Time is also a 9. Like I said, the 50th anniversary specials are a lot of fun. They're very enjoyable, and they represent a point in Doctor Who history that is very important. 50 years, and looking back on that now, nearly 10-year-old specials and quickly approaching the 60th anniversary of this incredible show, I think it just lays to rest how culturally impactful this TV show is without anyone really realising. For 60 years, people have been intrigued by this show, this character and his friends, and I think that is important to remember. But away from that, the Series 7 complete review, complete all the episodes. So we've got Asylum of the Daleks. We won't be including Adventure in Space and Time, but we will be including Day and Time of the Doctor. But yeah, so Asylum of the Daleks, I said that was an 8. Dinosaurs in the Spaceship. I honestly am giving it a 7.5 because of Brian Williams. A Town Called Mercy, 7.5. Power of 3, 6. The Angels Take Manhattan, that's a very high 9. The Snowmen, that's definitely a 9 too, because I really enjoyed the episode. Like any episode with the Paternoster Gang is immediately a 9 by default. Bells of St. John, that's a 9 too, because I like that episode. The Rings of Akatan is a fucking 4. No, The Rings of Akatan is a fucking 5.5. Cold War, that's a 7.5. 7. Hyde, that's a fucking terrible 4. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, 8. The Crimson Horror, that's a fucking 10, by the way. Nightmare in Silver, that's a good solid 9. Obviously, Name of the Doctor, 9. Day of the Doctor, 10. Time of the Doctor, 9. But yeah. yeah, this has been. If you're watching this has been the. Obviously, you'll be watching this in 3 different possible ways. If you're watching the Adventure in Space and Time review, you've just sat here for 15 minutes of me talking about Adventure in Space and Time. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're watching these 50th anniversary specials, you've just seen me talk about the 50th anniversary specials, and hope you enjoyed that. If you're watching the Series 7 Complete Edition, then you're a real one, because that's going to be over 2.5 hours long. But I do appreciate you people sticking in and around as much as possible. So, like I said, there's 3 different ways you could be watching this visual video, so I appreciate everyone doing that, and yeah, thank you for watching the different videos this is in. This has been a lot of fun. Series 7 has been definitely the most specialist episode the series to review, with all the separate parts and components to it, but thankfully there is nothing like that going forward, from my memory at least, other than maybe the Series 9 thing where there's 2 Christmas specials, but that's nowhere near on the level of this, so, you know, away from that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name has been Jeff. No, it's not. And I look forward to getting back with the Series 8 review and the start of the 12th Doctor era coming very soon. So I'll, you know, for all 3 videos, this is going to be cue the outro. There's no singular doubt about it. So without further ado, for all 3 different videos, this is Series 7 Complete Edition review, the Adventure in Space and Time singular review, and the 50th anniversary specials. Without further ado, it's time to cue that outro. I stole that from Theme Park Worldwide, but fuck you. Cue that outro.